Ma lo sapete che è uscito il nuovo film di Dave Jackson, regista di Cat Sick Blues? E lo sapete che è co-diretto da un altro regista folle, il guy del bellissimo Sound of Summer? Il titolo? The Unsolved Love Hotel Murder Case Incident. E sì, è bellissimo. Ma è inutile che ve ne parli io, sentiamo cosa hanno da dire direttamente i due registi.
Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, director of Catsick Blues.
I'm Guy, director of The Sound of Summer.
And together,
We are the directors of...
The Unsolved Love Hotel Murder Case Incident.
Well done.
There we go.
There you go.
So we've got a few questions here to answer.
Right. Question number 1. What should we expect from the Unsolved Love Hotel Murder Case Incident?
I think something that people should not expect is anything like our previous films.
Oh, yeah.
This is not anything like Catsick Blues, and it's nothing like The Sound of Summer.
Yeah,
either.
what is it like? It's also fairly different to a lot of the found footage films that I've previously seen.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest influence is definitely Koji Shiraishi, who we both got into over the last year. But yeah, I'd like to think it's quite different from other found footage films as well.
Yeah, and also that's the point. It's not a found footage film in the sense that if you find a tape, put it in a player and see what's captured. It's a very much an edited movie, but in the sense of a fake documentary style. It's about us, ourselves, Dave and Guy, two foreigners living in Osaka, Japan, who get wind of a mysterious murder case and go to investigate that, and a lot of freaky things happen along the way.
I would say it's scarier than like, I don't know, like Catsick Blues. I wasn't too worried about making that film scary, even though it was a horror film. It was more gross and disgusting. Whereas this one, I think we both wanted to make it genuinely quite scary.
Yeah.
Which I think it is towards the end of the film. All right. Next question.
There you go. Where can we see it? Well, we are currently, I don't know when this will go live, we are currently doing a pre-sale via Indiegogo. So anyone who wants to see the film can buy a copy there. Once that campaign is over, we don't know, to be honest. We're not in talks with any distributors at this moment in time. So all I can say is Indiegogo for the next 2 weeks of this moment right now.
Yeah. When we're recording this, so it could be over. There might be nowhere to see it. But
Can't see it.
Unless you live in Japan. We're doing a screening in 2 weeks.
And then next month in Tokyo. Yeah, that'd be fun.
But at this point, if you don't live in Japan, the Indiegogo is the place to go. Yeah.
That rhymed.
Was it? Did it?
Oh no, it's just the same word actually.
That's still a rhyme.
It's just the same word, doesn't count. So, how was it to step on the other side of the camera?
Ooh.
So, being both directors and protagonists of this film. I think, we both are directors. We are both main roles of this movie, but there's also another person in this film, Kuromi, who is really the star of this film. It's the three of us going to the hotel together, but I guess Kuromi is the focus, the charm, and the star. The star of every scene.
Yeah, she steals every scene.
We don't even need to be there.
Yeah. That took a lot of pressure off us, I think, having Kuromi there, because if she wasn't, like, it'd just be, you don't want to watch us for 70 minutes, do you?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. But yeah, it was, we've talked about this a bit before, but yeah, we both don't really like acting very much. We find it a little bit uncomfortable. So it was pretty tough at times, but it was also kind of a fun challenge as well, I think. Yeah.
I think being in that situation where we do just play characterized versions of ourselves, being in an abandoned hotel in the middle of the night in this kind of scary setting that we had made, it definitely kind of conjured up something within us
Mm.
that made our maybe like, natural instincts come out
Yes.
a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah.
So there were certainly times where we really were scared, genuinely scared, that even though we were in this make-believe reality that we had created, we were like
Yeah.
acting genuinely as if we
Yeah.
were. Like our reactions were so genuine that we weren't even acting at
Mm.
times.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I was thinking about there's one scene, without giving too much away, but we have to walk in darkness, total darkness,
Mm.
just with a torch and a lamp, and we're going up some stairs
Mm.
to a room. That's all I'll say about the scene. But that was terrifying because
Mm.
there wasn't really, when we're shooting, it's just us.
Mm.
There's not a crew.
mm,
Like, we had a crew, but they disappeared when we started filming,
Mm.
basically. So we're going up there by ourselves, and that was quite frightening.
Yeah.
That like the build up of moving up there.
mm,
And then I think after, even though we had to do that take a few times, after doing the first one, that kind of dictated how we should act in the scene, because we were actually scared, and there were like real reactions the first time.
yeah.
So we could just build on that each time.
Mm.
So that was very fun, I
Mm.
thought. Yeah, that part of the acting.
And also, I think because like our dialogue is not scripted, it wasn't
Mm.
scripted at all. It was just what we would say during that
Yeah,
situation,
yeah.
and it just came out naturally.
Yeah, yeah.
And that might be through fear, screaming, like
Yeah.
shouting at each other.
Yeah.
And it was quite a fun like back and forth that we
Yeah.
had in, even though fantasy, it was all real stuff that we would have
Mm.
said it had been in that situation for real.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, how did you find yourself shooting a found footage film, which is now an old-fashioned genre, but also a very difficult one to make?
Hmm. Do you know something that makes me think of? Yeah, I never thought I would make a found footage thing. It's only something I've become interested in basically since getting into Japanese found footage, I think. Like, I always liked Blair Witch and things like that, but it did... Yeah, there was a time where I'm just like, ugh, another found footage film, right?
Yeah, I mean, the market is so saturated
Yeah.
with found footage films.
But then I think from watching Shiraishi's films, it kind of made me realize the potential of the genre when it's done well.
Yeah.
So that's sort of, I think, what encouraged us to make it. But something I found really interesting while filming it is, as you said, it's not really a found footage film. It's a fake documentary. And we're playing ourselves. So we are people that know how to use a camera and have shot films before. So when I was filming, I was very conscious of like, I don't want to make this look too sloppy because it's me shooting it and I know how to frame a shot. So
Yeah.
so that was like a fun balance of being like, I want it to be a little bit shaky, but I also want to shoot it how I would actually shoot it, and I quite enjoyed that aspect of it. Did you find that when you were filming it? Were you thinking about that kind of thing?
In a way, yes. I remember, like, at times I would sometimes just look away from like the viewfinder in the camera and just use my eyes, and then I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm actually
yeah. Which is probably how you do it
yeah,
for real, right?
yeah. But then on the other hand, when Kuromi was filming, and we had this is Kuromi who, for all we know, has never held a camera in her life and doesn't know how to use a camera, and so there were times where within the story we were like, this is Kuromi's character filming, and we wonder, should we film it because we can shoot what we want to actually capture, but then we're like, hang on, but we don't want it to look too pre-planned and organized. So in the end we just gave it to Kuromi, just like shoot what you shoot and what you think is good. So the camera does get jerky, it does kind of move back and forth, and like, I should be filming here when I should be over there, kind of thing. So I think because of that there is a naturalness to this film. And one of the things that I really felt whilst filming this is, unlike a normal linear film where you can basically just do the same scene again and again from different angles, and you shout cut and go, and then and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. With this, because it is found footage, you don't have to worry about getting multiple angles. you just keep going.
Yeah.
You just keep going, and you find yourself more immersed in that reality
Yeah.
than you were to be when shooting a normal film.
I really loved that aspect, and I think it also made it much easier to shoot this in sequence, which is I've never done before. Actually, this is the first time I've ever shot a film like in like narrative sequence, and that also helped, I think, to like build up the tension while filming it. And yeah, it was great. Like most of the scenes are just one shot.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you say, it allowed us to really get into it. And it made editing much easier.
Yes. Something we're eternally grateful for.
Yeah.
Right. It says, let's not go into too much detail. But how did you get into the metaphysical side of the film?
Well, we don't want to go into too much detail of this, but yeah, that was something we talked about before shooting this, is that I think a mistake of a lot of horror films, not just found footage, is that they give away too much. And that was something we decided early on, where we didn't want to over-explain that. I don't want to give anything away, but like the elements of this film. So it does play with, I'm just going to ruin it if I say it, aren't I? But it does play with,
I think
can I say?
It does, it's not black and white.
Yeah. I think that we could just probably leave it at that. Yeah, because we don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
But that was something we decided. We didn't want to make it, as you say, black and white. Like, yeah.
I'm sure some people might hate.
Yeah. Some people
but,
might like. Yeah, they might want more details on that. But
You
yeah.
don't explain anything. Do you have a bit of pressure after directing two instant cults like Cat Sick Blues and The Sound of Summer? Is the question.
I don't know about pressure, but I think one thing I'm quite a little bit conscious about is this is a fake documentary. It's a found footage film. It does not have the stylistic elements of our other films. So there's no score, for example. There's no slow motion murder sequences like in Cat Sick Blues. So it is very, very different. So I hope that people go into it realizing that it is something different. It's not, this is a collaboration between us, and it's a very different film from what we usually make. So I'm a little conscious about that, but I would hope that most people could view it in that way and understand that it is like a different kind of film to what we've made in the past.
Yeah, you hope people go into it without any sort of like misconception or prejudgment.
Yeah.
I don't think I felt any pressure after making Sound of Summer. It's too different. It's too different that you kind of can't even compare it, right?
I think I'm gonna feel more pressure when I make my next feature, by myself, that won't be found footage. I think that will be a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of things I have to include or that I have to live up to, right? So that I feel pressure for. But yeah, this one it feels a bit different.
Yeah. So
hopefully people can see it that way.
And you make a film in the same vein. Unfortunately, they will get compared. Like saying, when I did Sound of Summer, it was rightly so compared to Difficulty Breathing, because they are, quite similar in terms of style and themes. This one is just too different. So
Totally different. Yeah.
I don't even know how you could compare it.
No, it'd be very hard.
So no is the answer to that. How did you two meet?
Was that the question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not asking you.
How do we meet? Okay, so I feel like we've told this story a few times on our podcast, Show Me Something Wrong.
Listen to
it. What year was it? I can't remember that part. Maybe 2021?
I have no,
It was COVID.
It was pre-COVID.
Not pre-COVID.
It was pre-COVID when you messaged me first.
Right, so it was the start of COVID then, so maybe...
It was before that.
Right, but when we actually met...
Oh, when we first met,
was definitely COVID.
So we had a back and forth online, and then we met maybe like 6 or 9 months later.
But I found out about Guy's film Difficulty Breathing through a reviewer called Perry on Letterboxd. Remember Perry?
Oh, he did that Sungazer.
Yes. Yeah. So he had reviewed it, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting, and contacted you, bought a copy, really enjoyed it, sent you a message saying how much I enjoyed it, and then I think you realized that my address was in Osaka.
Yeah. So yeah, he bought a copy of film, copy of my film, and I was like, yeah, just send me your PayPal, your address, and I was like, oh, is this? There's a foreigner living in Osaka wants to buy my film. I was like, who's this guy? Which could be, a disaster.
Usually is.
It is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was alright. But yeah, and then upon like actually looking at the guy's profile. This guy. I was like, oh, he also makes films, and I was like, oh, not only that, he's made a film that I've heard of, Cat Sick Blues. So then, like after half a year or more, because I was going back and forth between England and Japan, we ended up meeting. That was just as COVID was kicking off.
Yeah, and
it was a very lonely time to be a foreigner in Japan. It was not fun. So we managed to find some kind of solitude and within each other, and just going out drinking, and managed to find some comfort in
talking about films. Talking about Blood Diner.
Being the only English speakers
in
the whole of Japan.
So we became friends through that, and then a year later, started making the podcast together. And
I think because our friendship was kind of built on recommending movies to each other. And then from the podcast we were like, oh, we should make a film together. This is a difficult question, and I don't know how to answer it. 3 films that shocked you?
Oh fuck, I should have previewed this before. 3 films that shocked me. 3. That's 3's a lot.
3's a lot.
3's a lot. Okay. How about, should we do like one at a time? We'll see how many we can get. And then if we can't get 3, it's fine. Number 1.
Yep.
I'll say a film that deeply shocked me. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not that interesting. But Irreversible.
Oh yeah.
The French film. Was that like 2003 or 4 or something like that? I saw it when I was maybe 19, I believe, and I don't think there's ever been a film that hurt me as much as that film did. And even though I respect the filmmaking behind it, I don't think I could watch that film again. It upset me and shocked me too much.
It's not one you frequently go back to, is it?
No, it's not a fun watch.
Have you seen it since that?
No, and I don't want to. Yeah.
I remember like I watched it when I was quite young as well, but I remember rewatching it as a teenager, and I was in Hong Kong at that time and found a VCD of it in Hong Kong. And I was like, I'll just put this on, and all of the violent scenes have been pixelated in it. So like during the fire extinguisher scene, there's just a big like blur, and I was like,
that kind of makes it worse in a way, and grosser.
It took me out of it. That's one thing. And I was like, okay, well, that's something. Irreversible. Yeah, that's certainly a shocking one. For me, actually, it's funny because I had this conversation with someone today, so it's fresh in my mind. Miike Takashi's Audition is one that shocked me when I first watched that. I remember I was 16 years old and I was working at my first part-time job in a clothes shop in Brighton, England, and across the road from that was a DVD shop, and I had previously seen Ichi the Killer and Full Metal Yakuza and some other Miike films, and I just saw that it was by the same guy. I had not heard a single thing about it. Nothing. And just took it home, put it on, and just like watched it, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice. And I think a lot of people's experiences with that film are ruined by the hype surrounding it. Unfortunately for myself, I had not heard a single thing about it. So I just like just quite innocently put it on, and then by the end of it, I was just like, fucking hell. Yeah.
Do you know what's funny about that film? Because the way that not much happens in that until the end, right?
Yeah.
And I used to love showing that film to people, including my mum, and like saying like, "Oh yeah, it's just like a drama. It's like a character study drama," and not mentioning that it turns into the most fucked horror film.
Yep.
And like, you know, there's like that scene with the guy in the bag.
Yeah.
And like that's like the first flash of like, whoa, hang on, what is this?
Yeah.
And I remember like every time showing it to someone, they were just like, you could see them like,
what's happening?
yeah, snap at that point.
It's funny you say that because that reminds me. I actually did the same thing to my friend. I brought it around to his house, and I would bring like horror films to his house every now and again, and he was fine. But it was when I brought around Audition, and like he didn't say anything, just put it on, and then when things started to get bad, he just like left. He left his own house. I was like, mate, it's like, am I right to be in here? And then he was like, guy, you're not allowed to bring movies around anymore.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So that's probably a good one for me. Audition.
Nice. What have I done? I've just done one. Okay.
Reverse.
I want to choose Hong Kong Cat 3. Because when I first saw Hong Kong films, they had a Hong Kong Cat 3s. They had a very big impact on me because I just didn't know that films could be that fucked. If I had to pick the one, I mean, again, it's like quite a typical choice, but Untold Story. When I saw that for the first time, I just couldn't believe that films could be like that. It wasn't only the fact that it's really offensive, really violent and horrible, but it's just how silly that film can be as well, with all like the comedy bits, and it was so jarring and wild to watch. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was watching with a friend that also enjoyed, Hong Kong Cat 3 films.
Yeah.
And I think in the scene where the family's getting massacred, it's just this horrible scene. Our other housemate walked in and just like watched a small bit of that scene, and it was just like, you guys are fucked, and left. I remember we just felt a bit like, oh yeah, we've blown it.
Not being invited back.
Yeah, but God, I do love that film. But
film.
yeah, first time watching it, I was just gobsmacked. I think there's worse. I think things like Daughter of Darkness, that's probably worse than that. But that was one of the first ones that I saw, and it did very much shock me. Yeah.
Another one for me, I watched when I was a young teenager, I believe, and it's a film I still absolutely love, and that is The Cell with Jennifer Lopez.
Love that film.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's
So
so bizarre and out there, but so visually beautiful, and just going into the mind of a serial killer, and all the weird, like, surreal landscapes that are portrayed. But there's one scene very early on, and it's before it gets all a bit kind of like sci-fi and stuff, and it's the guy who he like hooks himself to the back and suspends himself up in the air, and below him he's got this bleached white body, a naked woman, and he just masturbates on her, and he's just like vigorously masturbating. All the chains are rattling, and you just see the dead woman whose eyes are open and she's bleached white, and I was just like, this isn't right.
That's crazy. It's J-Lo, right?
It's Jennifer Lopez
J-Lo
and
Vince
Vaughn.
And is that Vincent D'Onofrio that plays the serial killer as well?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like it might be. Man, yeah, I saw that film in the cinemas when I was a teenager. Wow. And at that time, I was like, this is the best film I've ever seen. I was obsessed with it. I think I saw it maybe twice at the cinemas. And then it was so poorly reviewed. It was like a hated film. But I think in recent years, people have kind of reassessed it, which is, is good. Maybe my initial reaction to it was correct. But
It's a great film. I love
it.
it. I love it. And another scene, it wasn't a shock. It was not the one that shocked me, but the one that really sticks with me is when the demon-like monster within the serial killer's mind has Vince Vaughn's like guts attached to a little kind of like
that's right.
like whirling it around.
I mostly remember the horse getting deconstructed as well. What a fucked up film. I want to watch that again.
Knock out the shit from here.
Yeah. Watch it after
That's
this.
been cut in Japan, actually.
Yeah, you told me that. That's
very disappointing.
Yeah. Okay. Third one, I'm gonna go in a very different direction now. So when I was a teenager, I was absolutely obsessed with Troma films, and one of their films that I loved and watched over and over, but it made me feel really guilty for watching it, was Terra Firma.
Oh,
Because
that's
that film
a
is
good one.
so gross
Yeah.
and so fucking offensive, and I loved it so much. And I just like watched it over and over and over again. And I remember like at a birthday party, maybe like my 15th or 16th birthday, I put it on at the end of the night in front of all my friends, and I think I lost a few friends.
Nice.
That's another one I want to revisit.
I actually watched that for the first time a couple of years ago.
I remember
I'd
you
not seen
telling
it
me.
prior
Yeah,
to that, and I was like, this is great.
It's so good. It's excellent. Yeah. You got one
I've
more?
got one more. A film that shocked me.
Mm.
I think, when I was a young teenager, again, like I had started to dabble in Japanese cinema and horror, and from there I found Miike Takahashi and Audition, and then I was like, right, gotta find the next fix, you know. And that was what took me onto the Guinea Pig series. I remember seeing the first Guinea Pig because I wanted to watch them in order, and I think that was the first time I saw a film that had no plot. It was just a plotless, pretty much dialogueless torture film for like 40 minutes, and I think it was as well as being so visually shocking, it was shocking in the sense that I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know films didn't need to have a plot or didn't need to have like dialogue, didn't need to, you know, it was just there to destroy the viewer. And that was quite a shocking revelation for me, I guess.
I think always for me the first one I find the most upsetting. I think the second one is a more impressive film in terms of effects and all of that, but that first one is so mean.
It is mean. That's the way to put it.
And I think I watched that again maybe when I was like 16 or 17, and I remember just afterwards just feeling like I shouldn't have watched it. That kind of feeling that I don't get anymore watching films.
No, it doesn't exist.
We're too desensitized.
And there is like the first time I saw that, I got it on a bootleg VHS.
Right.
It hadn't even been released by Unearthed by that point.
Wow. Okay.
So I got it on a bootleg VHS. It had the first 3 episodes on it, and none of the because it hadn't had a DVD release yet, there was no official translation of the title, so they're all slightly off. So Flowers of Flesh and Blood was Flowers of Bloody Flesh, and the years were slightly wrong and things like that. So it was really just like this gross little thing that I found and put on. I was like, oh, this isn't right. What am I doing? That was certainly a shocking one for me.
Nice.
Yeah, is that it? Did we do 3?
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, we did.
Well done us.
Good job.
Right. Oh, we just got a new contribution on Indiegogo.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
Nice.
And it says, feel free to add whatever you want.
Oh.
And ask to participate to the actress for say hello. See if she wants to say hello. The actress. Okay. But is there anything else you want to add to the film? To the interview?
Yeah, I would just say like if the Indiegogo is still going, please head there and check it out. If it's not, don't know. Have a look at the trailer.
Watch that.
And and then just wait until we
have another announcement, I guess. What I will say though is with this film, of course, as Dave mentioned, we tried to make it actually scary, and we do have our signature gore effects that you can, that you've associated with our films prior to this. But also, outside of that, we do talk about Japanese culture a lot, and we do look at the Japanese countryside and the city, and I think even someone who maybe isn't really here to see the gore and the guts can also get a lot out of the film if they are interested in Japan and Japanese culture and things that I know they might not have in their home countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's totally true. It's showing parts of Japan that I think you don't really see in many movies, right? Like some weird egg vending machine in the middle of the countryside.
Don't ruin the eggs. Yeah.
There you go.
So check it out.
All right.
There you go.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Grazie infinitamente Dave, grazie infinitamente Guy, e voi correte a recuperare su Indiegogo il DVD o il Blu-ray o quello che vi pare di The Unsolved Love Hotel Murder Case Incident, e spero di non doverlo pronunciare mai più. Bella regà, che il cinema sia con voi.